What's going on, backpackers and campers? My name is Dave and this is Off Grid. I'm into backpacking, hiking, camping, and gear. If you're into that sort of thing too, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Today I'm going to be doing a first look at the REI Flexlite Air Chair. I'm going to be giving you things like my overall first impressions, the pros and cons, the price point, the tech specs, as well as what I plan on using the chair for. So let's get started. So this is going to be a really quick video. I'm just going to run through it super quickly. I know that you guys have probably seen this chair a billion times before. It is not a new chair. It's been out on the market for at least a couple of years now, and it is basically REI's version or knockoff version of the Helinox Chair Zero. I'm going to be throwing a couple specs out, comparing this one to the Helinox because I don't own that one, but for the most part I'm just going to stick to the Air Chair today. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today are going to be the tech specs. I'll throw them up on the screen as I'm kind of talking about them. There's not a whole lot to share about it. I forget the exact denier of the nylon, but it's a nylon backing to the chair. It is a 17-ounce chair. I hear a lot of other people call this a 1-pound chair, but that's if you forego the stuff sack that kind of comes around it. I see a lot of other YouTubers and backpackers who are now carrying a Dyneema sack or bag for their chair that Ben over at Hilltop Packs sells. It might be a little bit lighter than the sack that it comes in, but for the most part it's going to be relatively about the same. You are looking at about a 17-ounce chair and not a 1-pound chair, so keep that in mind. It's not exactly 1 pound. It's only if you forego the stuff sack that it comes in, but I'm going to stick with it because I like to keep my stuff a little bit cleaner. The rest of the frame or the structure of the chair is a lightweight aluminum, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I will throw up the dimensions as far as like how high it is off of the ground and how wide it is, as well as the size of the overall chair when it's packed away in its stuff sack here. But yeah, for the most part that's pretty much it on the tech specs. Let's get into the overall look and design now. I ended up getting the orange chair legs with the darker I guess charcoal style backing. They do offer it in a few different styles and a few different colors. So let's get into some of the pros and cons now of this chair. Obviously the biggest pro is that it is super lightweight, right? It is at least a I guess like half of the weight of your other chairs that you're able to find at more of a budget friendly price on Amazon or elsewhere, and then it comes in at like over double the cost as like all things usually are with backpacking gear. So obviously coming in at 1 pound, a lot of people call this a luxury item, but I think a lot more people are actually using one of these chairs when they're out in the field now. So is it really a luxury item if you're going to be packing it the majority of the time? I don't really know. That's kind of like up for you to decide, but for me, I always pack one of these no matter what style of camping that I'm doing. I love having a chair, especially if you're doing a bunch of miles throughout the day. You don't want to like come back and just sit on a log or sit on the ground or just sit on your sit pad on top of a bear can or something. That's an option, but it's not going to be the most comfortable option. So to have a chair like this is like a primo option for you to relax and, you know, kick your feet up and just enjoy the camp when you get to the campsite. The other pro that I'd say about this chair is the profile, or how high it is off of the ground. You're getting a little bit more height off of the ground over your standard stool or lower profile chair, like a beach chair or something like that. You're able to really just like get your butt off of the ground a little bit more and be able to you know, sit in more of a regular style chair. And I guess that kind of goes along with another like small pro here, which is the fact that it is a little bit higher up off the ground. It does have a little bit higher back too, so when I'm sitting in this, you really can kind of like maneuver a little bit. You can like slink down in the chair a little bit more too, and the back can go a little bit higher, like closer to your neck. But if you're sitting kind of like upright and in a normal position, it'll end up going right around maybe about halfway up your back or so, but that's really good to give you like back support on your chair too, which a lot of the stools don't have. Now let's get over into the cons. So the biggest con here that I see with this chair is probably the price point more than anything else. A very close second though is going to be the overall materials and construction construction of the chair. It definitely feels a lot more flimsy than other chairs that you might be trying out and other chairs that you might be used to. I would rope in another con here, which for me is going to be like what I like to call mentality, or something that like you're always thinking of whenever you're using the product. And with this chair, I'm always thinking of how I'm sitting in it, what kind of ground I choose to put it on. You don't want to put it on soft ground because you'll sink right in. And I'm always just kind of like thinking like I don't want to like distribute my weight too far from one area to the next, because it is more flimsy and I don't want to just like break the legs by mistake. So it's definitely more flimsy of a chair sitting experience, and you definitely think about it more when you're sitting in it. So it's kind of like if you own a more expensive car and you want to baby it a little bit more, it's kind of like that, but with camping gear. So with this particular chair, you definitely think about it a little bit more when you're sitting in it. So those are basically all of the cons. Like I said, one of the biggest ones that I'm kind of concerned about, and I haven't had it long enough, so I really want to stress the durability of it. I'm not really 100% sure what the durability of this chair is going to be in the long run. One of the things that I did see in the comments on REI's website is that this doesn't hold up quite as long as the Helinox Chair Zero does, so I definitely want to like put it through its paces to see if it holds up over time. And again, another con here is going to be the feet on the chair. They are definitely smaller in diameter. They're almost peg-like, so if you're choosing a really soft ground that you're going to be sitting on, just be wary that you probably will end up sinking into the ground, and that's another thing that you don't want to do. So make sure you choose a hard-packed ground. There are other like offshoot aftermarket feet that you can put on the bottom of it, and I'll explain that in a separate video for you guys when I do a comparison on other chairs, so be on the lookout for that video coming up soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the cons on this chair. So let's get into the price point now, and that is one of the cons for sure. Whenever you're reducing your overall weight in your pack and you're going with lighter materials, you're going to end up spending more almost inevitably. And for this chair retails for $99 normally, and I am an REI member, and I ended up getting this on one of their crazy sales. I don't know if it was Black Friday or July 4th or something like that, so I got it for 30% off, and I ended up getting it for right around $70. So for this type of chair, the 1 pound chair coming in at 70 bucks, I think is pretty awesome. Comparing that to the Helinox Chair Zero, it starts out at $120. It weighs exactly the same, and you know, even if you were to get it on sale, you probably wouldn't be able to get it as low as you were to be able to get this chair. So I really dig that I was able to get the same weight savings in a chair that basically functions exactly the same. The only other difference I would say comparing this chair to the Helinox Chair Zero would be how the design of the structure of the poles kind of go. So the pole structure is just kind of not backwards, but just different than the Helinox. And the Helinox is kind of similar to a lot of the chairs that you're able to get. They have this crossbar that enables you to fix the chair in one particular way, and then the REI Air Chair ends up going in a different direction and kind of goes like straight on front to back rather than from left to right. And it's really just kind of like your own personal preference as to which one you like over the other. I personally don't care quite as much, but just note that in the REI Flexlite Air Chair, you're going to be a little bit more unstable from left to right. So if you're sitting in a chair and you're swaying a little bit from left to right, you're going to be more unstable and you could end up falling out. And with the Helinox chair, it's more unstable from front to back. So if you're leaning a little bit forward to the front or a little bit more to the back, you're going to be more unstable and you might fall out in one of those directions. So let's just bust it out and set up this chair. I can show you how I end up setting it up real quick. Throwing it together is super easy and simple. All of the poles just kind of lock in together in kind of like a shock cord fashion. They're really easy to just kind of like fit into one another. And then the toughest part is really just putting in the last square. It's got 4 different points that you hook or latch, not really latch, but kind of like put the back backing of the chair into, and the last one is the hardest one to get on, but it enables it to have more of a snug fit and you know, like kind of keep its structure and keep everything in place. So yeah, how am I going to use this chair? Obviously, if it's not obvious by now, I'm basically going to use this solely for backpacking. Now, you can look at different types of scenarios, and you can always say that whatever you use backpacking, you can apply to car camping, but I find that I want something a little bit more stable, and I like to have a little bit more of a luxurious feel when I'm car camping compared to backpacking, so I'll end up carrying something that inevitably is going to be cheaper, but at the same time more durable, and something I can kind of beat up a little bit more and not have to worry or think about it as much. So that's going to do it for me on this one. Again, this is my very first impression of the REI Flexlite Air Chair. I've taken this out a few times. I really enjoy it so far, but again, will it stand the test of time? I'll check back in a little bit and let you guys know on that one. Today's shout out is going to go over to John Kelley and his channel. I think it's just called John Kelley, formerly known as JK is Hiking, but now it's just John Kelley. He's got an awesome channel. He's got great content, and he's been on the climb as far as his popularity goes on YouTube, so definitely big props and shout out to him and his channel. If you haven't already checked that guy out, make sure you head on over and check him out. I'm going to post a link up in the cards. I think it's over here, right over here, and then down below in the description for his channel. Thanks so much for watching this week, guys. Really appreciate you, and remember, if you're heading off grid, make sure you do your research and you make it a safe one. Till the next time, I'll see you later.